Hey, welcome to the Simple Nutrition Podcast, a show that helps you learn practical and actual nutrition tips from an expert. I am your host, Leonila Campos, a registered dietitian with over 8 years of experience in the nutrition field. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Simple Nutrition Podcast. I am your host, Leonila Campos, registered dietitian. And today I want to talk about plant-based nutrition or veganism or vegetarianism because this is a topic that is really close to me, and so I figured out why not. I guess it would have been a great idea to do it in January because that's when plant-based or veganism is more popular. But either way, here we are. So why that? Like, why that topic? So a little bit about the reason why. So I actually have been vegan for over 20 years. I started my journey when I was in Mexico. I was maybe 13, 14 years old. I'm not going to go into the details as to why. It was just more of some traumatic, experiences that happened to me when I was young in school. And so then I decided to not eat any more animal products. Now, if you don't know this, let me tell you, I am Mexican. So this was in Mexico, right? When I decided, hey, I don't want to eat any meat. I told my mom and my mom freaked out. She's like, you're going to die. So it was very difficult for her to understand. And I completely understand now as a mom. Obviously, we want the best for our children. And we want to make sure that, whatever decisions they make, they're making them in a healthy way, right? In a safe way, essentially. So yeah, my mom wasn't very happy about that. She tried to convince me, right, time after time, hey, you need to eat meat. And she would, hide meat or animal products in my food. But, once you know what the taste is like, you know it, you're able to recognize it, right? And so eventually she realized that this was something that it wasn't just like short term, right? It wasn't like, oh, it's a teenage thing. She really realized that, hey, she's actually going for it, right? She's not going to change her mind. And so she started making my meals more balanced with like adding more beans, more legumes, adding more dextro vegetable protein, TVP. Now, this is a long time ago, right? Over 20 years ago. And in Mexico, there wasn't really a lot of noise about veganism or plant-based foods or not eating meat, right? I just made the decision on my own after I seen something traumatic. And so we were just going with the flow, right? Like, let's just see how this goes. When I look back from 20 years ago to now, plant-based nutrition, plant-based meals, veganism, vegetarianism has changed so much, right? And that's, possibly for many reasons, right? I did see the huge increase after the pandemic because there was more focus on being healthier, right? Like, what can we do to optimize our health? And so there's a lot of research that shows, right, that the amazing benefits of eating plants, right? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and seeds without actually being vegan. And so there is more on that focus of like, let's add more plant-based ingredients, plant-based meals. And so with that in mind, right, obviously, when there is a change in trends, companies like that, right? Because then that means an increase in profit. And so I've seen a huge difference in products, right? The availability of products. Like even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, going into the store and not seeing, that huge increase in products like, oh, this is plant-based, right? No, like they were probably hidden. Of course, you will see your tofu, right? And your beans and your legumes, but that's pretty much it. Now you see, an array of plant-based foods. And it's so amazing to see that. Now, not to say that not all of them are going to be healthier, right? There's some, just like any other products, are going to have a high amount of salt or high amount of fat, right? or calories, which doesn't equate into being healthy. It's just that there's some products that are going to be like that. So it is amazing just to see, as I was, thinking about this episode and thinking about how much veganism, how much plant-based nutrition has changed over the years. And it's just really, it really amazes me, right? Because it's obviously because of something, right? Things develop and things grow. And so because there is more focus on, being healthier and optimize our health and increase vitality, that, things grow essentially, right? Like trends become like really trendy. So I wanted to take a look at that specifically, right? And if someone wants to maybe start adding more plant-based meals to their nutrition or to their plans, I have some really cool tips about that and some resources that can help you. And if you don't, that's okay, right? One of the things that I always emphasize, because my patients don't always know that I'm vegan or that I'm plant-based, right? And that's okay, because my job as a dietitian, my job as a health professional is not to impose my beliefs or my way of living on you. You're here, you're coming to me, you're coming to see me for a specific reason, for me to help you improve your overall health or a specific health condition. And I am going to meet you where you're at, right? And we're going to work on that, and we're going to create a plan together to help you achieve that specific goal. My personal stuff is my personal stuff. And so I think that is really important, because I'm not going to, again, impose on my beliefs on you, or tell you, like, be so strict about it. Those are your decisions. You do what you want to do. But I think having the knowledge, having the tools, is a great skill. So let's start. Right. A lot of the times, there's so many memes out there about vegans being protein deficient, right, or not eating enough protein, or the question like, where do you get your protein from, right? Surprisingly, all foods that we eat have some sort of protein. It might not be a huge amount, right? But even fruits and vegetables are going to have a couple grams of protein. So if we add a variety of foods from all food groups, obviously the protein group is going to be different, right? Because we're going to be adding other sources, which I'm going to go into in a moment. We can have a pretty well balanced meal, high protein meal, without having to sacrifice that specifically. Now, a little bit of a recap of what is a balanced meal, right? If you haven't heard my episode, I want to say it's episode 3, where I talk about the 3-2-1 method and the balanced meals. Go back to that one. That's where I explain what a balanced meal is, right? A lot of the times, especially as health professionals, as dietitians, we say, let's focus on balanced meals. But I think explaining what that is so important, because obviously we are in the field. We went to school for that, and we know that, but not everybody knows that. So just a quick info on that, right? A balanced meal has to have at least 3 of the food groups, the 5 food groups, and those are fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, fruits, vegetables, carbohydrates or grains, proteins, and high calcium, high vitamin D foods. So with that in mind, right, when I say that a balanced meal has to have those 3 food groups, we have to keep in mind that 2 of them you always have to have, right? At least. For sure, you always have to have a protein, right? With every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you don't have breakfast, doesn't matter. Your other 2 meals or your other meals have to have protein. Then you want to have a fruit or a vegetable. Ideally, a vegetable, right, with your main meals. You can have your fruits with your snacks or fruit with breakfast. But that's how we're going to get most of our fiber throughout the day. So what I always say to my clients, we want to have protein always, at least 2 cups of vegetables, right? And then the third group, you can decide if you want a fruit, if you want rice, beans, pasta, noodles, if you want a healthy fat, avocados, nuts, and seeds, whatever you want to add to that third group, right? And if you want to add a little bit more of the other food groups, that's fine. But when we think about balancing that plate, right, balancing that meal, the reason why that is because it's going to give us that energy that we need. is going to keep us satiated longer, right? And we're not going to have these sugar spikes where we're like, I'm hungry and I need to eat something sugary. Now my sugar goes up and now it has to come down naturally. And then I'm hungry again, right? It's more stable. And so that's what we want. And how we can accomplish that is by having protein and fiber. Yeah, fruits and vegetables. And then something else that we want to add to that. So that's a little bit on the balancing of the meals. And that applies to any way of eating that we're following, right? So in the case of plant-based, eating, veganism or vegetarianism, is the same thing, right? So we want to make sure that we have protein. The plant sources are usually easier to add, right? Because we are eating around those foods for the most part. And so, but we still have to focus on protein, right? And so where do we get our protein from? I love that answer. I love that question, actually. So there are different sources of protein, but if we were to focus on like maybe your wholesome sources of protein, you have tofu, you have tempeh, you have seitan, you have edamame, you have TVP, texture vegetable protein, coming from soy or coming from peas. You have, beans and legumes. You have your nuts and your seeds have a smaller amount, higher in fat, but healthy fat, we still need that. And now you have more products, right, that are made that are high in protein, like your Impossible burgers and what are the other ones? I don't know, there's other meats that they just came out with. And so you have a variety, right, that you can use. Now they came out with like an egg one. I saw it at Whole Foods the other day, and I was like, holy moly, that looks just like an egg. But it's made out of, something else. You can add that too. And then there is your plant-based protein powders, plant-based bars, and you have a plant-based Greek-style yogurt, right? That has about 15 grams of protein in like a 2/3 cup. So there are some ways to add high protein meals. Then you have your chickpea pastas, your bean pastas that are going to have that higher amount of protein. And we can create really, really high protein meals that are plant-based, right? So before I go on with like how to create these balanced plant-based meals, I do want to talk a little bit about the differences, right? Because I've had patients or clients ask me like, what are the differences between, I know they're plant-based plants, but like what is vegetarianism? What is veganism? What is other stuff? So veganism, right? Following a vegan diet means that there's no animal products at all, right? No eggs, no milk, no honey, no sugar that has, bone char or anything like that. So literally no animal products. That's veganism. And then you have vegetarianism, which could be lacto-ovo, meaning that you eat eggs and milk, or just ovo, meaning that you just eat eggs, or lacto, meaning that you don't eat eggs, but you eat dairy products. And then, and those are pretty much the main ones, right? And so depending on what, someone wants to follow, then they can do that. Now, the only thing, just like with any other diets, right, which I don't consider this a diet, I consider it a way of eating, right? It doesn't have to be either or, right? I've had clients that they still eat meat, right? But they are focusing on eating more plant-based foods for overall health, right? Or decreasing their cholesterol, or they just want to feel better. And so they want to increase their immunity. And so they're adding, once or twice a week, they're adding plant-based foods, right? Or they're focusing on adding, meatless Mondays or tofu Tuesdays or something like that. That's totally fine, right? It has to, again, the plan, and this is what I talk to my patients all the time. Whatever you decide to do, right, it has to work for you, right? It doesn't have, like, if someone in your family did it or a friend did it and that worked for them, that's great. But every person is different. So you have to know what works for you and what's going to work for you long term. And so if someone, comes to me and they're like, I want to add more plant-based foods to my meals or to my way of eating. Wonderful. Let's see where we can start. right? Maybe we want to do that with breakfast, right? Or maybe we want to do that with dinner, or maybe we want to do that once or twice a week. Great. Again, it has to work for you, because if it doesn't, then you're not going to do it. Literally, like I can create an amazing plan that I think, oh, this is going to give results, and it's going to give results because I've tested it time after time. But I always tell my clients, you're the one that's doing the heavy lifting. You're the one that's doing the work day after day. If it's not working for you, it's not going to work for you at all, right? We have to be honest with ourselves and say, this is really difficult. Let's simplify it. And I love when my clients are honest with me, excuse me, because it helps me to create a better plan for them, right? If someone tells me, hey, I tried this plan for a whole week and it was really hard, there was a lot of things that I needed to focus on, I thank them, right? I'm like, thank you so much for bringing this up to me and for telling me, for being honest. Now let's focus on how we can simplify it. So that way you feel that you're able to accomplish those goals, or that you are able to finish that plan, and you can follow and you can stick to it, and that is going to work for you, and it's going to create skills and tools that you can use long term. That's how I like to work with my clients, right? Again, this plan, I can create the plan, right? Like I said, but if you're not going to do it, doesn't matter how beautiful, how perfect the plan is. If it's not applicable, if you're not going to do it, it's not going to matter. So anyway, coming back to the topic, right? So those are the different types of plant-based, the main ones, right? There's so many other variables, so many other variations, but those are like really the main ones. Now, let's focus a little bit on deficiencies, right? We do know that not a lot of plant-based foods, specifically veganism, are high in vitamin B12, right? It's found mostly in the ground, and so that there could be a deficiency there. But if we need a supplement, then we talk to our healthcare provider, right? We communicate that, and we can get a supplement to make sure that we're not vitamin B12 deficiency, because that can actually be serious. It's one of the B vitamins that helps with a lot of functions in our body, in our metabolism. And so we want to make sure that we are not deficient in that specific vitamin. But a lot of the times, like cereals are fortified, grains are fortified. If you drink a plant-based milk, they are usually fortified as well, and so we can get those vitamins and nutrients through that. But again, checking those labs at least once a year, it's a good idea, just to make sure that we are where we want to be. Any other minerals or vitamins or nutrients, as long as we are having a variety of foods, again, and we're making sure we are intentional about making those meals balanced, we should be okay, right? Again, if there is an issue where chronically someone has low iron levels or anemia, right, then that person has to work with the health provider to figure out why. And if there is a need for a higher supplementation, then you do that. But a lot of the times, just having those balanced meals will give you the nutrients that you need, day after day. So for example, a lot of the times I get asked, well, how about calcium and vitamin D, right? Because if we're not adding any dairy, where are we getting this from? And that's a great question. So if you're drinking your plant-based milks, they are fortified. Most of the times they're fortified, like an 8-ounce serving size for, let's say, soy milk is going to give you about 25% of what you need of vitamin D and calcium, right? So let's say if you drink 3 cups a day, right, that gives you 75% of what you need, plus any other fortified foods that you're consuming, like dry cereals. There's some, like almonds will give you some calcium as well, some of your green leafy veggies as well. And so you can absolutely meet that number. But if no, I usually just drink 1 cup of milk or 1 cup of soy milk or almond milk or any other plant-based milk, not every day, then again, these are things that you have to talk to your healthcare team, either your dietitian, your doctor, where they can decide if adding a supplement is going to be beneficial. Now, if day after day, week after week, month after month, you don't meet your calcium and vitamin D levels, then yes, a supplement is most likely necessary, because you gotta remember that those are vitamins and minerals that we need, right? And we need to get them either from food or from a supplement. And if we're not getting them from either one of those, then we have to think about that. Let's see, what else? In terms of that, I think those are the main things when it comes to supplementation and deficiencies. Again, if this is something new and you're like, I'm just starting, because when I think back when I started, and I think, how were my meals? Like I just only had like one or two food groups. Either we made a lot of sopitas, right, like soups that were like made of flour, right? Like think of noodles, and beans, right, and vegetables, and that was pretty much what I would eat, or beans and veggies and a tortilla and something, or rice. And I think that was it. So there, I don't know. I was what, 14? No, I was younger. I was like 13, 14 years old. I was just going with the flow. I was just eating, and not eating just animal products, but just eating whatever else, right? And so obviously I grew as I continued to grow and research more. And then as I got into nutrition in college, then obviously I learned more. I learned about balanced meals. And even until this day, I continue to learn how my body responds to different foods. And lately, well, actually, it's been like maybe 4 months where I started to really focus on, my protein and making sure that I'm hitting my numbers, because I also do a lot of weightlifting, and I started adding swimming twice a week. And so, I have to, and these are things that I know because I'm a dietitian. And I've been doing fitness for a long time. And so, adjusting my meals, adjusting my macros, adjusting, the way I eat is something that I do often to see how my body responds, right? But these are things that I had no idea in the past, right? And so what I'm trying to say here is that if this is something new for you, this is something that you've never done, but you're interested, it's always a wonderful idea. I highly recommend working with a dietitian to help you add these to maybe your way of eating now, or if you're transitioning and you want to meeting nutrition plans, and you want to now go into plant-based nutrition, try to find a dietitian that works with just that, or specializes in that area, which there's so many colleagues, so many dietitians that I know. And you can also, look it up as well on Google. If you have social media, you can also find them there, plant-based dietitians. And so it's always a good idea to get help at the beginning. Of course, you can Google this information, but there's so much information out there. This is another thing that I hear from my clients, right? Conflicting information is so confusing, it's so overwhelming. Just go straight to the professional, right? Dietitians. You have questions about nutrition, or if there's something that you want to focus on with your nutrition, find a dietitian that can work with you and create a plan for you. So there's that. Now let's talk about creating these balanced meals more so in how you do that, right? Just to give you an example, my day is busy, right? I am a business owner, a private practice dietitian, and a mom and a wife, and so I am really busy, right? And I have to make sure that I know what I am going to eat for the week to reduce my time, spent in the kitchen or figuring out or skipping meals, right? Because sometimes when I'm really busy and I'm so focused on what I have to do, there's been days where I just, I don't even stop to look at the clock and be like, oh my gosh, I haven't had lunch. And this is something that I continue to work on. And of course, this is something that my clients and I work on too. So I'm a human. I also do that as well. Anyway, so knowing what to eat is going to be helpful. Creating a plan, right, is going to give you that roadmap for success for your week, right? If you don't know what you're going to eat for the week, then it's going to be chaos, right? One, because you don't have the ingredients at home. If you think, oh, I want to eat, I don't know, chickpea pasta with vegetables and tofu. Wait, but I don't have any of those ingredients. And it's time to eat. Okay, well, I either skip lunch or I eat junk, right? Because I have no time. So the first thing that you gotta do is you have to create a plan. Either you can work on creating a meal plan, or you can decide, okay, I'm gonna buy the ingredients, and if you're really good at creating these meals, on the spot, perfect, right? Create those meals on the spot. But if you're not, really knowing what you wanna eat for the whole week it's going to save you so much time, right? So spending it's not even going to take you that long. Spending maybe like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes on Saturday, figuring out, okay, Monday through Friday, these are the meals that I'm going to eat for breakfast and lunch. Dinner, I can figure out because I have time. If you don't have time, then my friend, you got to plan for all three meals. Write down what the meals that you want to buy, then create a grocery list. Then you can go grocery store and have the ingredients. Because when you have the ingredients at home, and you know what you're going to eat, you're removing those obstacles of not knowing what to eat, right? Now, if you have someone that can help you create the meals, even better, right? Give them guidance or give them an idea of what you want to make, or even the recipe. Here's a recipe. This is what I want you to make. And that saves you so much time, right? So, for example, I'm a busy person. Usually my mornings are really busy, and they're on the go. Sometimes we're running late and I'm like, let's go. So I usually just have a protein shake, right? From, what is it called? OWYN. It has 32 grams of protein. And then I usually have a bagel with peanut butter that I make at home. And that is my breakfast, right? High protein. Because I have noticed, right, that if I have a high protein breakfast, it keeps me satiated. It keeps me full longer. And so I don't have to worry about, like, I'm hungry, but I'm really busy, or I can't step away from my desk or whatever. But at least I'm getting that high protein breakfast and some other calories from the waffle or the bagel, whatever I decide to do. And then I can have lunch. Usually, I am going to have a veggie stir fry with brown rice, which is my favorite. It's really fast. Like, it literally can take me like 7 minutes to do. Or I am going to, if I have more time, maybe I have tempeh, right? That takes a little longer to do in the air fryer, about 14-15 minutes. While that's happening, I can cook my vegetables and I can add some brown rice, and then, it takes me 15 minutes. Or I usually sometimes like to pre-cook noodles ahead of time, so I can have noodles with pesto, tofu, and veggies, right? And that's what I can have for lunch. Dinner is similar. If I had tofu, I usually like to add a variety. Maybe I'll have seitan or tempeh or TVP, or something along those lines. But again, you can see, right, that I'm adding protein with every single meal. And I also try to add protein with my snacks. So if I'm having a morning snack, I like to have either edamame with a cucumber or edamame with sprinkled hemp seeds, which will also add some healthy omegas and fiber and protein. And then maybe for my afternoon snack, I want to have one of those Greek-style yogurts. The one that I get is from Kite Hill. But even if you wanted to do like a coconut yogurt and just add like half of or a scoop of protein powder, right? You're adding some extra protein there. That's perfect too. With some fruit, and then I add some ground flax seeds for extra fiber and healthy fats. And then there's my snack, right? I usually do pretty good with just 3 meals and 2 snacks, unless if it's a swim day when like I'm using a lot of energy, then I am increasing my carbohydrates just to fuel up. But that's pretty much it, right? And this is what I do. I already know, what I want to have for the week. I go grocery shopping, I have those ingredients, and they're there so I can make my meals, right? So that's the main thing. You have to have that plan, my friend. if you want to succeed at creating these balanced meals, you have to have a plan. It's not like, oh, I have all the time. Even if you're not working, even if maybe you're at home, it doesn't matter. Because even more so then, because you're like, oh, I have all day to think about it, right? And then you're busy with other things, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's time to pick up the kids, right? And I haven't had lunch. Now I have to go pick up the kids, and it's going to be chaos because now I have to feed them. And now you're not eating. So then we get hungry, and then we get hungry, and then we're just snacking throughout the day, mindlessly eating because we don't have the plan, and we don't know what to eat for our meals. So have a plan. Now, this is a great segue because with that in mind, I actually created a 7-day plant-fueled recipe bundle for you, and it's completely free. You don't have to pay anything. And I think I'm going to show it to you so that way you know what I'm talking about. And then if you're only listening to the podcast, you can go to my YouTube channel, which I'll link in the show notes, and you can view my screen. You can see my face, but you can also download the recipe bundle, right? So here it is. And if I'm making it so easy for you, my friend, I have added the grocery list for you. So if you're like, I am going to give this a try and I'm going to follow the plan, as it is. So I'm giving you the grocery list. But it has recipes like overnight oats with berries and walnuts, right? Yum. And then kimchi tofu scramble. So like the first 3 recipes are, the 3 first recipes are for breakfast. So the blackberries that you're going to see, those go with the kimchi tofu scramble. So you eat the kimchi tofu scramble and the blackberries. And then for the second, and the way that I create it is, you can do one day, like vary the recipes, or you can do 2 days of one recipe, 2 days of the other recipe, and so on and so forth. Whatever you want to do, that's on you. And then I added a blueberry protein smoothie with flaxseed. A little bit about the protein powder. Now, there's different brands out there. What I usually recommend my clients is go to a store that sells single serve packets of protein powder, and you can see, you can give them a try, maybe buy a few that you can try out and see which one you like best. I know some people don't like the graininess of one or the after flavor of another one, so just try it like that, so you don't buy a huge tub and you're like, I hate this protein powder. But like I think GMC and maybe the Nutri-Shops, Whole Foods, Sprouts, they have the single serve ones that you can just try them out and see if there's one that you like. But I usually just use either Orgain or the OWYN. What else? I think I've tried so many, but those are the 2 that I seem to lean towards the most. But again, the best thing to do is just try a few and see which one you like best. And then this is another breakfast one, the edamame avocado toast. You can add fruit to that if you like. And then the next recipes, I think the next 2 recipes are for your snack, like strawberry and almonds, blueberry chia parfait. And then these are your lunch ideas: tofu veggie wrap, citrus and mixed bean salad, tempeh taco ball. And then now these ones are your dinners: sheet pan balsamic tofu and broccoli, lentil chickpea pasta salad. This is one of my favorites. And oh my goodness, there's so many chickpea pastas out there now, so many brands. So my friend, if you buy one and you're like, I hate these pasta, try a different one, try a different brand. Maybe the other brand is, tastier or you like best. So don't just give up on one. Try a different brand. Seitan tacos. I like those two a lot. 1 pan sweet chili tempeh veggies with brown rice, or you can do it with quinoa or with whatever other grain you want to do. That's fine. And that's it. So there's several recipes there that you can use. I know I said dinner and lunch, but you can eat it whenever you want, right? It's just to give you some more ideas. You can incorporate them in, during your week, during your meal planning or your meal prepping, see what you like. Give them a try. Let me know. Let me know what you like. Let me know if there's one of that's your favorite. Go to the show notes. You'll see the link there. Click on the link, and then they'll direct you to 2 steps on how to download it, and then give it a try. Right? Again, just to recap on what we talked about. Right? We talked about plant-based nutrition, veganism, vegetarianism, the differences. I share a little bit about my journey. We talked about if this is something new, this is something that you want to add or start. The best thing to do is work with a dietitian, work with somebody a dietitian that is going to guide you and help you on how to create these healthy and balanced meals to make sure that you're getting all the nutrients that your body needs, either through the food or through a supplement. And what else? And then here is a sample plan. So I guess the goal for you, if this is something that you want to try, give it a try to this bundle. Try 1 or 2 recipes, add them to your meal planning, and let me know. But again, you have to have a plan, right? You cannot just go. If you're struggling right now with your nutrition, you're struggling right now to meet those goals, it's not because a lot of the times we know what to do, right? I hear my patients a lot of the times, I know what to do, I just don't know how to do it, right? I don't know where to start. And so starting with a plan, right? Knowing what you want to eat for the whole week. You can even start so small. I want to focus only on lunch. That's fine, right? Start small. And then you'll see results, right? You'll see that you'll have more energy, but also you're going to save money, right? Yes, grocery is expensive, but eating out all the time is not only financially expensive, it also has an expense in your health. So that is it, my friend, for now. Take care. Remember to stay strong and stay healthy. Check out that free recipe bundle. And I will see you next time. All right, my friend. Bye-bye for now. This podcast, the links and resources provided are for the purpose to educate only and are not a replacement for medical advice or nutrition therapy. I suggest you seek out the help of a trained professional to help you with your specific situation and needs.